After grounding activities for 2 days, organized labor suspends strike as Nigerians decry impact. Bandits abduct district head, 5 others in Kaduna, injure 2 mobile policemen. On the foreign scene, UN Security Council adopts resolution for humanitarian pauses in Gaza. The UN Security Council adopts resolution for humanitarian pauses in Gaza. Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We start in Abuja as the Joint National Executive Council of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria has suspended the indefinite nationwide strike, which entered its second day on Wednesday. The decision was reached at a meeting on Wednesday that deliberated on the outcome of an earlier interface with the federal government led by the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu. The TUC President, Festus Osifo, confirmed the suspension on Wednesday evening. Organized Labour said it has received a commitment from the Ribadu-led meeting that those arrested for the physical assault on NLC President Joe Ajaero would be prosecuted. The National Security Advisor also promised to bring both parties back to the table to iron out all issues in dispute, tendering an unreserved apology on behalf of the federal government for the brutalization of Joe Ajaero and other members of the Congress. The meeting, which was held at the office of the NSA, with the TUC President Osifo, the NLC General Secretary Emmanuel Ogbaja, the Minister of Labour and Employment Simon Lalong, among others, in attendance. At the end of the meeting, which was held behind closed doors, both the Labour Minister and the TUC President say they had a robust conversation on the issues at stake. The Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress of Nigeria embarked on an indefinite nationwide strike action on Tuesday following the November 1st assault on NLC President Joe Ajaero. Well, let's get a sense of the situation across Nigeria, and we're going to join Abdullahi Yamadi live from Katsina for us on the phone. Abdullahi Yamadi, good afternoon. Thank you very much for making the time. Give us a snapshot of how things are shaping up in Katsina this afternoon. Abdullahi Yamadi, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you give us an update on how the suspension of the strike action is affecting activities in Katsina? Are things getting back to normal? It appears we have a connection challenge. Abdullahi Ahmadi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's good. Well, give us a situation report on how things are shaping up in Katsina this afternoon. Are things getting back to normal?
Well, that's very nice. You know, the information got to many Katsina residents very late at night. In fact, greater percentage of the people here are not even aware that the strike was called off last night. So going by this, almost all the public places such as schools, courts, and other institutions remain closed. However, the question many Katsina residents are asking is about the impact of the strike action, whether it has made any impact or not, because they are talking about the issue of wage award to state civil servants, which is one of their priorities and, of course, one of their concerns, whether those concerns have been addressed by the organized labor before calling off the strike. In fact, most of the civil servants here in Katsina have not resumed to work. Maybe by tomorrow, Friday. But as of today, the turnout is very low. Right. And on the other side of the coin, the 2-day strike has really crippled a lot of business activities here in Katsina. And maybe the business activities may pick up as soon as possible.
Well, can you confirm if schools, public schools, private schools are open, if the Secretariat, for instance, is open for business today?
Well, I went to the Katsina State Secretariat complex, which is housing most of the ministries and other MDAs. But the Secretariat gates are opened, but there are very few workers there that are going in and out compared to other normal days. So by and large, the turnout is very low, and most of the schools still remain closed. And of course, even court premises I went to this morning were closed because of the communication gap. The information came to many people very late at night.
Right. But what is the mood in Katsina this afternoon? How are people reacting to this development?
The reaction of many Katsina residents is that whether the strike action has made any impact, whether the demands of the organized labor has been met, or they just call up the strike just like that because of some other issues they are suspecting. They are asking a lot of questions regarding the calling of the strike, whether their demands have been met. And their main concern, especially here at the state level, is the wage award for state civil servants, whether those issues have been addressed.
Right. Well, Abdullah Ahmed, thank you very much for the update in Katsina. Let's talk to Ado Musa now, who is standing by for us in Jos, the Plateau State capital. Ado Musa, good afternoon, and thank you very much for making the time. How is Jos shaping up this afternoon, and what is the reaction there? Because there was near total compliance during the 48 hours of the industrial action between Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yes, in Jos, virtually all day-to-day activities are back in Jos, because when I visited some of the public places like the High Court Jos, University of Jos, and other public institutions, I saw how activities are coming back at those institutions. For example, when I went to University of Jos, I saw students going into their classes, which signifies that lectures are also ongoing. I also spoke to the state chairman of Academic Union of University, that is ASU. He also confirmed to me that already told their members since yesterday that they should resume to classes this morning. And I confirmed that when I visited the place. And I also spoke to some students who also confirmed to me that they have had lectures this morning. At the same time, I went to the State High Court, where I also saw staff of the various courts in that premises. I saw them coming into their offices. I also spoke to the state chairman of the Nigerian Staff Union of Judiciary, who also confirmed to me that they have already informed their members since yesterday that they should all resume offices, which I also confirmed that. So in Plateau State, virtually all activities have resumed.
Yeah. What about the public schools? Because there was this dissatisfaction that we reported yesterday regarding parents who are unhappy that their children are not going to school because of the strike action. Are the schools open for academic activities now?
Yes, like in the case of primary and secondary school, all of them are also open. But in the case of university, like I have just explained to you, which is also a public institution, in the university, we can confirm that the activities or all academic activities has also come back fully. But in the case of public schools, even though not all of them also went or rather comply with the strike action, but when you go around, you will witness how these institutions have also resumed to the normal activities. And in the case of banks, for example, when I visited some of the banks, I also saw customers trooping to various banks to engage on one or the other activities at the banks.
Okay. Ado Musa, thank you very much for that update. Ado Musa speaking to us from Jos, the Plateau State capital. Well, let's head over to Imo. In Owerri, to be precise, the epicenter of the current labor debacle with the state government that snowballed into this national industrial action. Ajibade Press is standing by for us in Owerri. Ajibade, good afternoon. What is it looking like at this moment in Owerri? Is life getting back to normal? Because the state has been, dealing with this stressful situation between the labor and the state government.
Yes, I would say life is getting back to normal. Yes, normalcy has returned back to the state, and most of the offices that were shut down because of the strike are now, getting back to full operation. I visited some of those offices earlier this morning. Most of the schools are now open. Students are coming to school. I noticed the financial institutions are now open, and the people can now access the banking hall for their various transactions. I also noticed that the judiciary that was once locked, completely locked, is now open, and people can now access their offices for those who seek legal services and what to do. But one thing that caught my attention at the school I went to, that is the government secondary school I went to in the state, was that most of the students are yet to come to school. They are yet to resume. It's like, typical of Nigerians. They are still waiting to see whether or not the news that the strike has been called off is true. So most of the students didn't actually turn up. You could see a school of thousands of students. The ones we saw around today were just a few, in tens, hundreds, thereabouts. So, but then I spoke with the VP, Vice Principal Academic of the school, who confirmed to us that yes, they are now open and the learning will now commence. But then the students are yet to resume, and they trust that they will resume as the day goes by.
What about the power services that has been cut off for well over a week now? Has that been restored?
That was a very bitter one for Imo people. Yes, power has been restored in some of the places, some of the communities across Imo State, especially in Owerri. They're beginning to see power supply. Also, some areas within the Owerri North local government area, that is Iagua. Iagua is now seeing light. Amajeke, as well as somebody I confirmed to, who also spoke to me from Imekuku axis of the state. They are now seeing light. I believe, yes, power has been restored back to the state.
Well, I suppose that's really good news to hear. Thank you very much, Ajibade, for the update. Appreciate you joining us on the news at this hour. Right, let's move on to some of the day's other news stories now. The district head of Kujama in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State, Stephen Ibrahim, has been abducted by suspected gunmen. His abduction alongside two others, he was abducted rather alongside two others while walking out of a reservation center located behind Bethel Baptist School along Kaduna-Kujama Highway. The incident happened on Sunday evening at around 7 p.m. according to a local JTF senior member. According to him, the district head was in company of two others when the gunmen came on motorcycle and picked him up at gunpoint. Also confirming the incident to Daily Trust on Wednesday, the Ardon Chikung local government area, Ibrahim Saleh, described the incident as unfortunate. In a related development, two mobile police officers sustained gunshot wounds as suspected bandits attacked Kakanji community in Birningwari area of Kaduna State. The incident occurred on Monday morning when the bandits stormed the outskirts of the community, attempting to set ablaze the armored personnel carrier vehicle belonging to the mobile policemen in the area. To 2 persons have been killed after a fire incident raised down over 1,000 IDP shelters in Muna IDP camp in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. The fire incident comes a few days after a similar occurrence in Gamboru market. The Muna IDP camp inferno, according to reports, happened at around 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning, lasting for over an hour and destroying makeshift houses of internally displaced persons. The IDP camp has recorded several fire incidents in the past, most especially during the peak of the Harmattan season.
Ya ci ɗakuna, ya ci mutane, ya ci su taburma, su tukunya, su tampol ne, su zana, su itace.
The fire burnt our houses, mats, foodstuffs, everything went in flames. We went to trade our soup items when it happened. When we saw it, we ran back here, but it was late. The fire incident happened last week too. It affected only 7 houses. We want the government to support us.
Ba mu da wurin kwana, ba abinci, gashi wannan ne a siyan nan ne kawai mu.
I can't count what we lost in the fire: food, clothes, and other things. We don't have where to spend the night and no food. If the government can relocate us, we will be happy, or they should build a fire service station in the camp so that anytime there is a fire outbreak, it will stop the spread. We really want government to help us.
Well, you're watching Trust News Update. Coming up ahead. Despite rising global temperatures, climate change remains unmitigated. Details of this and many more stories up ahead in just a moment.
We started manufacturing leather since 1958. But the most important thing is that if the system is checked correctly, we won't have where we are now.
If somebody has depression, they may just be very irritable and unproductive in the office. So you find on average already about 1 in 4, 1 in 5 Nigerians already have mental illness, a mental health condition that needs some form of attention.
No matter how good an economy is, if the federal government goes bust, believe me, everything in the economy is just a matter of time it will go bust. So first of all, about maybe slightly below 70% is in federal government securities.
If government has banned importation of fertilizer and states are doing it at the level of governance, but I believe that production and distribution of fertilizer should be left to the private sector.
This is the general multi-purpose card and it has a chip here. So this chip is about 80 kilobytes. The one that you get from the bank for ATM is just 4 kilobytes. So this is like 20 times.
Welcome back to the news and thank you very much for staying with us. Let's take another look at our top stories at this hour. After grounding activities for 2 days, organized labor suspends strike as Nigerians decry impact. Bandits abduct district head. 5 others in Kaduna injure 2 mobile policemen. Médecins Sans Frontières, also known as Doctors Without Borders, an international non-governmental organization, has called for strengthened and longer-term vaccination efforts against diphtheria as cases and deaths from the current outbreak in Nigeria hits 17,600 respectively. In a statement, the organization says about 70% of the patients admitted across its treatment facilities in Kano were not fully vaccinated or vaccinated at all. The organization says this shows the alarmingly low vaccination coverage in Kano State that has recorded almost 12,000 suspected diphtheria cases. MSF says in the northwest, full vaccination coverage is of high concern, ranging from 6% in Sokoto, 10% in Zamfara, and 18% in Katsina, against a national average of 36%. In the northeast, the coverage is seemingly alarming, as only 15% of the patients treated for diphtheria in MSF facility in Gwanje Pediatric Hospital in Maiduguri were fully vaccinated. Now, climate change remains a hot topic on a global scale, with proponents advocating measures to curtail man-made factors to lower the effect on the environmental and economic ecosystems. The past 12 months have been the hottest ever recorded in 150 years as the world struggles to provide solutions to the growing energy crisis. In this report, Abdurrahman Umar puts the spotlight on the effects of climate change and its impact on livelihood.
Victoria Haruna is a rice cultivator who is feeling the impact of the hot weather condition that has become a new normal. The rise in temperature is becoming too much to bear.
This rice, it takes us several months to harvest. Like right now, due to the hot weather we are experiencing, it becomes too difficult for us to carry the work like we normally do. But we can say, since the government will not provide any help, despite the hot weather, we are just trying to survive.
The work becomes much easier when it is during rainy season, but in this hot weather condition, we still have to carry on.
For experts like Ibrahim Wasiu, the correlation between human activities and rising temperatures is evident for all to see.
The hot weather we are experiencing for now, like you said, when we are, indiscriminately felling of trees and all that, which are supposed to be, coexist with human being and all that, when you indiscriminately cut all these trees, what we are saying in essence is you are affecting the ecosystem. And indirectly, this is supposed to balance the, the temperature for us. But, you can't find them anymore. They are less in number and all that. And as a result, it's not directly or indirectly causing, this excess heat that we are having now. And of course, we also know it's as a result of deforestation, and all that.
Despite the concerted effort to turn around militating factors, the gaps that exist is too great to make meaningful impact.
We just have to think outside the box. We just have to continue to think of alternative, to the use and burning of fossil fuels, other activities that a woman can engage that can, at the end of the day, curtail all this burning of fossil fuels and other things. We just have to think, ahead. We just have to really, know that climate is changing. And before we know it, it's really having indirect effect on human lives. We just have to, key into this. And as a matter of fact, this is the right time to do that.
Although poverty and economic inequality are greatly undermining solutions aimed at addressing these challenges, the authorities have more to do.
The major threat to environmental, tranquility in this country is the fact that, the rate of poverty is over close to 70%. And I think almost that proportion, about 70% of the population actually depend on fuel wood for cooking, either fuel wood or the new variant now that is called charcoal. And over the years, governments, in succession, they've not been serious about, the transition from fuel wood to a cleaner fuel such as gas, or other forms of renewable fuels or sources of energy, and that has make the situation much more serious, because as the population increase, poor people tend to depend on natural resources or natural fuels such as fuel wood in order to cook, and people must cook.
Nigerians appear to be oblivious of how everyday actions like tree felling and waste mismanagement can facilitate global warming. There is a clarion call for all hands to be on deck if the most populous black nation in the world is to make progress in reversing the trend of climate change. Abdurrahman Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
To developments on the international scene, the United Nations Security Council has passed a resolution calling for urgent and extended humanitarian pauses and corridors throughout the Gaza Strip to allow for aid delivery and medical evacuations after 4 failed attempts to respond to the Israeli-Hamas war. The resolution introduced by Malta on Wednesday also called for corridors throughout the Gaza Strip for a sufficient number of days to safeguard civilians, particularly children, Ambassador Vanessa Fraser told the council. In addition, or rather, it additionally asked for the unconditional release of captives held in Gaza. It was adopted by 12 votes in favor, 0 against, and 3 absent from Russia, the United States, and the United Kingdom. The resolution made no mention of a ceasefire. It didn't refer to Palestinian group Hamas' attack on Israel on October 7, during which Israeli authorities say about 1,200 people were killed and some 240 were taken captive. It omitted Israel's retaliatory airstrikes and ground offensive in Gaza, which the Ministry of Health officials say have killed more than 11,000 Palestinians, 2/3 of them women and children. In sports, Zamfara State government has appointed Anas Abdullahi as the general manager of Zamfara United. Abdullahi replaces Ishaku James, who vacated his position. Abdullahi's appointment was in recognition of his experience and contribution towards the development of sports in Zamfara State. The former player of the club is expected to resume duty with immediate effect. Zamfara United are currently participating in the Nigeria National League. United lost 1-0 to Nasarawa United in their 2023-2024 National League opening day fixture. Well, that's all the news for now. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Feel free to follow us across our social media platforms to catch up with more content. And of course, visit trusttv.com for the latest news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you later.